What's up, folks? Renfail here, and I'm finally sitting down to talk a little bit about Diablo IV multiplayer because I think that this is the part of the game that is really going to transform it beyond what the previous games were. In terms of scope, in terms of size, in terms of audience, in terms of all these other things. I had a chance the other night to sink my teeth into it, and originally I was going to do two different videos talking about, the multiplayer, and then another video talking about the crossplay stuff, but I'm just going to combine those two things here and just, you know, I have thoughts, and I'm going to work my way through those thoughts with you all, spliced together with some footage from our multiplayer stuff, so hopefully you enjoy that. So, recently got to sit down with Gila and his kids and play some co-op, and we're going to be doing some more stuff with our clan in the coming weeks. I did not originally anticipate spending a lot of time in the multiplayer aspect of Diablo 4, but now that I've had a chance to really sink my teeth into the game, I'm closing in on 40 hours of gameplay, and I'm starting to see the potential of what lies ahead, like the scope of what they actually created, and I'm genuinely impressed. Way more than I originally was. Like when I first started playing the game, I was like, this is super fun, it's super polished, it's a Diablo game, I love the lore. I'm not usually a fan of ARPGs, but it's Diablo, and I've always enjoyed the Diablo franchise. But everything was coming together in a way that, I was enjoying it. And then I got to play multiplayer, and I was like, oh, now I kind of understand what they're going for in terms of the long-term objectives here for this game, which is it's pretty impressive. So if you look at like Diablo 3 having a 10-year plus lifespan, think about that for a minute because Diablo 3, as big as it was and everything else, being the most, and I know some people are gonna be like Diablo 2 was better than Diablo 3. I'm not. We're not here to talk about better. We're talking about size and scope. Diablo 3 was sort of like the biggest of all the things because the audience has grown over the years, and Diablo 4, as of like a couple of days ago, is the best-selling title in the history of Blizzard Entertainment. Think about that for a minute. This is a company who has World of Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo underneath its belt, and Diablo 4 has been the best-selling franchise in the history of their Diablo 4 best-selling game, not best-selling franchise, in the history of their games. And I think that there's some of that has to do with just people have been waiting for a long time for Diablo, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have made a game that is accessible to anyone on any platform that this game can be played on, and that multiplayer component and the crossplay component coming into play means that all of your friends can play together regardless of the platform they are on. And I think that is extremely important in terms of the longevity of this game, what it means for the future of not only this game, but I think a lot of other games to come. We've seen a big push in recent years towards games having cross-platform is what I should be saying. We've seen a lot of games pushing towards having multi-platform support, and that cross-play. And that's only going to become bigger and better. And I think this is it's one of the first big AAA games that I've played that had such a heavy focus on that crossplay component. And I'm looking ahead now to games like, say, Throne and Liberty, or the upcoming Dune MMO, or the upcoming Baldur's Gate 3 launch. All of these games being games that are going to be launched on multiple platforms. And then I look at games like, well, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to poke at anybody, but I look at some of these games that are like exclusive to the PlayStation, and it's like, why would you do that? And I look back at some of the comments that the chiefs of the PlayStation platform have made over the years, and about how it's very important to have the exclusivity and platform specific because that makes us the king. And it's like, I don't agree with that at all, because in my mind, the more people who play games, the better. Now, maybe if you're only interested in the profit of your platform, that makes sense, but if we're talking a developer who's making a game, they want as many people playing it as possible, so you need to have that multiplayer support, that cross-play support, which means it doesn't matter what you're playing on, you can join your friends. So, going into my experience the other night, I think I was very impressed with a variety of things. First and foremost is the fact that, like I'm playing on the Xbox Series X. That's how I'm playing this game. And then Gila and his kids were playing on co-op like on an Xbox One, and yet we were able to easily get into a game together and play. And they're playing couch co-op while while I'm playing on the Xbox. And then if we have somebody who wants to join us from the PC, you can do that. It's like all these different places you can play the game. You can log in and join and do things together. And I'm just like sitting here going, why can't all games be like this? And I understand some of the older games you can't because the engineering wasn't put in place for that in the first place. But I think games who are that are being developed now need to look at this as the way of the future, because this idea of exclusivity is stupid, because it gives you such a much larger audience and more people to play. But the other thing I really found very interesting, and I thought it was really, really cool, was the way that when you came together in a group, we had somebody in the group, they were like 15 or 16 and we were in our late 20s. And yet it didn't matter. Like, we were all able to play and we were all getting balanced gameplay in our dungeon group based on our own unique levels. And I'm like sitting here going, the engineering to put all that together is quite frankly astonishing and very, very well done. Like, that is the type of engineering that makes for a game that everyone can sit down and play. And it doesn't matter what your level is, it doesn't matter what your platform is, it doesn't matter where you're at in the quests. You can join your friends and help them and do dungeons and get aspects and run around and do strongholds and all these other things. And I sort of once I had that under my belt, and then I went back and went away and thought about this for a little while, and then I opened up the map and went, oh wow. Oh wow. Like, look how big this game is. Look at what's coming down the pipeline for seasons. Look at the next expansions that have already been announced, the first two expansions, one of which I think is already done, the other one's being developed right now. What's up, everybody? Commercial break here. I got to give a shout out to our guild champions. It's the highest tier membership here on YouTube. We got Ancient Entity, Crazy as Relative, and Remy D. Thanks so much for your support. And of course, to all of the members here on YouTube, thanks for keeping me on the air full time. If you do like what you see and hear on my channel, don't forget to not only like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, but please support. Consider me your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus, or HBO, whatever you want to call it. You can do memberships here on the channel starting at $3 a month. And of course, anytime you see me live or you watch a premiere, you can do super chats and stickers on those videos, and super thanks on any upload you see, which allows me to keep doing this full time and paying the bills. So from Chris and I and all of our rescue cats, we say thank you. Let's get back to the video at hand. Now, and you start to see that, they have a 10-year plan easily for Diablo IV that is a step up from what they had with Diablo 3, because now we've added the game as a service element to this. So it's not just, I've seen a couple of people who are like, I really wish that I had the old school single player Diablo. Okay, that's your preference, great, but it doesn't fit with where the genre of gaming has gone and where everything is moving towards. We want more open gameplay, more co-op experiences, more multiplayer experiences. I want that. Most modern gamers want that. And so being able to have a game where I can jump in, and I know some people get, like, I don't want it to be always online. I want to be able to play it offline, blah, 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 blah. That's 20 years ago. We're living in 2023. You have to think in 2023 mindsets. And so having a game where you log in and you can go it solo player, single player if you want to, but operating in that multiplayer space so that you can easily jump in and do events with other people that are in your area, just like Guild Wars 2 and many other games do it. But then also being able to have this multiplayer cross-platform component, which, by the way, you could toggle on or off. That part of it also blows my mind, because you could choose to turn all that off in the options here and only play with people who are on your platforms. If you only want to play with people who are on Xbox, because I'm on Xbox, or I'm on Series X, I only want to play with people on the Series X, I can do that. But you can also turn it on so that you can play with everybody, and I think that that's only a good thing. I'm very intrigued now, because I previously wasn't really, I don't have a lot of information about what does the season pass for this game look like. I haven't even looked into that yet, but I've been inspired by this multiplayer and crossplay and the things I see them doing in terms of expansion and everything else. I'm really inspired now to dive more into the seasons and start to look at what they got coming in the pipeline and say, you know what? I know it sounds weird for me to say this, but is this going to become, I don't know if it will, but is this going to become the big game that I focus on for the next 3 to 5 years? I don't know, because here's the reality. I love Star Wars: Old Republic. I love Lord of the Rings Online, but those games are old. Star Wars: Old Republic is 12 years old now. Lord of the Rings Online is 16 years old, and I have a lot of fun there. But I've seen and done it for years since those games launched. I don't play those games full time. I play them in spurts and I do content creation around them. And I play a lot of CRPGs and RPGs and so on and so forth. And I don't traditionally play a lot of ARPGs. But this game, I'm looking at the way Diablo 4 plays and how much fun I had doing multiplayer the other night. And I'm sitting here going, this has the potential to become something that I actually want to put a significant amount of time into over the next few years, especially considering my brother and I love playing 3 together, and he hasn't even started this game yet. So there's the people I'm playing with now, and then later on down the pipeline, my brother coming on board and me picking up an alt and going and playing that alt with him. And then I don't know if his son's probably too young to get into this game. He's only 8 years old. I feel like Dabo's a little too dark for an 8-year-old. But there's lots of people who can play this game, and I just see there being a lot of potential for this now that they've opened it up to everybody, and we've gotten rid of this antiquated notion of you have to only have it available for one specific platform, and if you want to play it on the PC, you have to play the PC version, and if you want to play the Xbox, you play the Xbox version. If you want to play I mean, what was it? Is it Elder Scrolls Online? I feel like Elder Scrolls Online. I could be thinking of a different game, but I feel like that's one of the ones that still has like the separation between. It's either that or Final Fantasy 14, or maybe I'm completely forgetting. I don't know. Anyway, food for thought, everybody. I'm gonna go away and continue. I just got my mount today, and I'm looking at having like at least 200 hours ahead of me for the first character that I'm working on, and then beyond that, all this multiplayer stuff and end game that I don't even know anything about yet. And I'm just like super excited. I'm having a lot of fun in Diablo 4, and my eyes are slowly widening to the potential of what they have here in terms of an ongoing live service game that's going to continue to evolve for lots of people around the world on all sorts of different platforms. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, join our Discord. You can also join our clan, the Raven Syndicate, in game. See you next time, everybody. Cheers.